Being confident in our speech is important for adults and kids. Whether you are speaking in public or saying your own name in front of the class, we want to speak with confidence and certainty that what we intend to say is what will come out. Fluency is one area of speech and language development. Many kids stutter when they are rapidly expanding their vocabulary and language skills. Many parents come to me and ask, "What do I do? Does my child stutter?" Today's guest discusses fluency issues from a personal perspective. So whether you have a toddler that stutters or a teen that's been diagnosed with a fluency issue, this episode is for you. Does your child have a speech-language delay and you really want them to talk? Do difficult behaviors derail home life and you know the frustration is a communication struggle? Does your child see a speech therapist and you wonder, what do they do and how can I help? If these or similar questions are in your mind, this podcast is for you. Hello, my name is Dinalynn Rosenbusch. I am a speech-language pathologist that has worked with children from birth to 21 for 3 decades. And in my classrooms, I see you wanting to connect with the heart of your child, but their speech and language skills create a barrier. So if you have a kiddo that has difficult behaviors, needs to expand their language or learn to say speech sounds, and maybe even receives speech therapy, stay tuned, because in this podcast, you will learn how to use your daily life as a tool to communication practice and how to do that practice. You will become confident knowing you are making the difference you want to make. And you will hear success stories of parents who have navigated these struggles already. We'll do this all while focusing on building deep, meaningful connection and confidence in your kiddo. So grab a cup of coffee along with a notebook and pen. It's time to speak in the way your child's brain understands. And that is the language of play. Welcome back. I'm excited to be back with you today on this beautiful May day. And I will share another review that came in before we begin. This one is titled Excellent and leaves 5 stars from TML525. This person writes, I am delighted to discover the Language of Play podcast hosted by Dinalynn Rosenbusch. Even as a former elementary school teacher for 30 years, I gained new insights about how children develop language and literacy by listening to just 3, thus far, of Dinalynn's podcasts, episode 209, 27, and 211. Dinalynn explains things clearly, shares practical knowledge, and shows genuine dedication. I highly recommend the Language of Play podcast as a valuable resource to parents and educators. Thank you, TML. I am so glad to hear that. It's interesting. I've been hearing from other educators more recently than more parents for, it ebbs and flows. And so I am loving that you are taking the information you learn into your classrooms as well. So I have left a link in the show notes if any of you other listeners are ready to leave a review. But now I have an easy link to do it. And it's called lovethepodcast.com/play. This will take you directly to a landing page where you can leave a rating, a review, or both, depending which platform you choose to do it on. And if you would rather, I now have another way that you can leave a message, and it's called castfeedback.com/play, which you will also find in the show notes. And you can leave me a question that I will answer on the podcast. You can leave a spoken review or anything else you'd like to say to me. It is new for me, and I hope you enjoy it. So far, nobody has left me a voice message, and so I invite you to be the first. Do not be shy. I would love to hear from my listeners. As always, as this show grows, more families are helped, more kids are getting benefit. So please follow, subscribe, and share whatever it is that you find valuable with people that you know that also might find it valuable. So you can share the show with anyone who lives or works with children. All right, another announcement. You probably remember that May is Better Speech, Language, and Hearing Month in the United States. So every week this month, guests come on and talk something about their stories, either dealing with speech pathology or their experience having a child or themselves with some kind of delay or disorder. So this month is all about raising awareness to speech, language, and hearing development and disorders. And in the field of speech pathology, we know that it is often seeming ambiguous to parents. How do you teach language? How do you teach speech? When it doesn't come naturally, it seems very out there, like parents don't know how to do it. And of course you wouldn't. This is a specialized field. It goes very deep and it's not very broad. And because it's deep but not broad, parents often mistakenly think that they can't make the changes. But I'm here to tell you, you can. For the last 15 years, I've had parents in my classrooms with me so that I can teach them how to carry over at home. And what I learned is that parents can teach speech. You don't need the entire depth of education of speech pathology. You just need to know what pertains to your child. And you need to be led along the way in the order that the child's brain works best to make it effective. Many of you do not have a speech pathologist accessible to you. And this is a large part of why I started this podcast. Because working side by side, you can help your child with a delay, or if you're just wondering, do they have a delay, or maybe you just want to get ahead while they're young, we can give you the specific skills that you need to help your child expand vocabulary, to teach them how to say specific sounds so everybody understands them better, how they can link their words together into better sentences to be able to express their wants and needs. And in learning how to do these things, the temper tantrums and meltdowns decrease because frustration doesn't overwhelm nearly so much. If this is something that resonates with you, or if you've been concerned about your child, email me at hello@thelanguageofplay.com and we will have a conversation. You can also click in the show notes to set yourself up for a consultation, and we will discuss how we can work together. And I look forward to hearing from you. Now, as we get started with today's guest, let me recap the episodes for May. First, we listened to Marsh Naidu talk about raising her child with cerebral palsy, as he moved from nonverbal to verbal and then speaking on a podcast. The second week, we talked with Dr. Rochelle Whitaker all about raising boys and the unique needs that boys have in language development. And today is the third in the series where we are talking with Jason Heffler, and this day's topic is fluency. Let's begin. Hello, listeners. Jason Heffler is an author whose stories help young readers overcome speech disorders and fears around speaking, drawing from his own childhood experiences growing up with and getting bullied for a stutter. He writes uplifting tales that build confidence in kids who lack self-esteem. His book, Tongue-Tied, is a resource to illustrate how speech issues do not define children. Jason, thank you for being here on The Language of Play. This is a delight and an honor to have you here today. I have read your book, and I have it right here, and it's lovely, and I think it is a fantastic, you're welcome, and it's a fantastic resource for parents of kids, particularly those kiddos that have issues with fluency. So thank you for sending it to me, and thank you for being
You're
here.
welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It means a lot, and I'm pumped to get into it all.
Oh, good. Well, let's just dive right into it. And always the first thing to do is for the audience to get oriented to who you are. Now, I read a little bit in your bio, but tell us a little bit about your story so that our audience knows, what happened with the bullying? What was all that about? What led up to you writing a book?
Sure, yeah. So I grew up in Philadelphia, and yeah, really the impetus behind it all was the bullying. It was vicious. I would say starting at like 6 or 7, and it got worse up until high school. And yeah, I wrote the book because it's kind of the book that I needed when I was a kid that I didn't ever have. Um, because as an adult, I realized that bullying, like all that cruelty, it comes from a place of more so of ignorance than anything. So the older I got, the more I realized that, and I kind of wanted to just write something that could educate both kids and parents that these speech conditions, not just stuttering, that they don't define you.
Right, right. As with any disability, disorder, or just difference, we're not defined by any one feature of us. We are a whole human. So I love that. Now, obviously, you still do stutter, but yet you're
Yep.
doing so good to communicate. You have gone on TV, you've done all kinds of speaking engagements in a lot of places, and you don't seem to be any bit concerned anymore. How right or wrong am I in saying that?
You're right. But I gotta say, like, it took forever for me to build this kind of self-assurance and confidence. I mean, it took my whole life of trial and error and very difficult, stressful situations that a lot of stutterers go through. Um, it's I tell kids all the time that you are going to have the thickest skin than all of your peers when you get older because of all these situations. So it took a lot, but yeah, right now the confidence is finally there.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
Yeah.
That's great. I should tell you that I have a guest in my home right now that also stutters, and
Really?
yes, and he's gone on to be a pilot. He does all kinds of cool things, and for him too, his speech doesn't define him, and I feel very proud of him for that.
Yeah, I mean that's me as well. First of all, that's awesome. And really the core message of the book, and I've heard this from doctors and speech language pathologists as well, is that we don't like a lot of parents, they want to chase a quote unquote cure,
Yeah,
and like 100% fluency is impossible. I mean, like
I'm
people
not
can get.
100% fluent either.
No, yeah, no, it is.
Nobody
It's
is,
insane.
right?
Yeah. So chasing that is like is it's an albatross. And the message here is that, if you have a speech condition or if you just have trouble, just no confidence in speaking up, you can still live a life that has all the same possibilities as everyone else. That's the
Hmm.
message here.
I love it. I love it. And
Yeah,
it's so important to embrace, no matter what the situation, right? That we are a whole human being.
exactly.
And
Yes.
nobody has no scars. Nobody has no issues. None of us are
No
perfect.
issues.
Right.
It's just the tough part is learning to take the scars and make them part of your story, right? Because like embracing those scars and those struggles, it can come off as weakness,
Sure. Sure.
but
Now,
it's
I want to
not.
lean into the idea of fixing because I know that as a speech path, we have parents come in to our offices, me included, and like some things, like if the child has some speech sound errors, that can be quote unquote fixed, right?
Yeah.
But if it's stuttering, it is a different process. It is learning to live with, learning to cope. It's for a person that is a genuine stutterer, it's a process that you learn to navigate in your life.
Yes.
Yes. And so that has been my experience too. A few people have fixed, so to say, but yet it's not necessarily the goal. I want you to talk from your perspective about what that looks like.
About what quote unquote fixing a stutter
Well,
looks like?
that and also this idea that you get this concept of let's fix him
Yeah.
from sources. And I'm sure your mom and dad thought, oh, let's just get that fixed, before they became educated about it too. So
Yes.
I want
And
you to
I
tell us
think that,
about the
yeah.
journey of fixing and then what it really looks like.
Yeah, it was a long journey. I mean, still on it. I did plenty of speech language therapy. I went to this intensive sort of retreat in Virginia. That helped. But at the end of the day, it never went away. Only when I really started to own it and make it part of my story in tangible ways in the real world did I start to overcome it.
Good. What
Yeah,
does
and
overcoming sound like to you? What does that mean to you?
basically just being comfortable enough to to approach situations in real life and not be scared of them. Like people don't really understand that very normal instances, like meeting a new friend, talking to a love interest, like a job interview, those things for stutterers are like these crazy stressful tightrope walks. So once you feel comfortable in those situations, I think that's when you really start to like break out.
Sure. I've often heard
Yeah,
that saying your own name on command is one of the biggest stumbling blocks for folks that stutter.
it is.
Why
It
do you
is
think that
saying your
is?
name. Yep.
Yep.
I mean, some people like certain syllables and words, they just stumble on them more. Some people have trouble saying hi, hello, the H, the he, and it's just right off the bat. And then, the mental processes from there can just spiral, and then the conversation spirals, and it can be, like I said, a very stressful tightrope walk. Well,
Okay.
what really helped me, and like to this day, I always, this is my biggest advice, is to acknowledge it off the bat. Acknowledgement really helped me, and it helped the other person on the other end of the convo, um, build some empathy.
Hmm.
I would say right off the bat, I have a stutter. It in no way affects the way I communicate or think or work hard. I hope that's okay. And 100% of the time, they would say, "Oh my God, it's totally fine." And I respect your candor and your honesty. And then it became a strength.
Good. That makes
Yeah.
sense. You say what's happening and clear the air on the wonderment that is happening, and poof,
Yep.
you can move on.
Exactly. Exactly. And that can be hard for a stutterer, especially when some physically can't even say those words. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's stigma.
Yes.
A lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
stigma that has come over the years for stuttering. I'm proud of you for getting past that. In fact,
Thank
you've
you.
gotten past it to the degree that you have then written this children's book. And the children's book is sharing how they can embrace the truth that is their voice,
Yes.
like the way they speak exactly as it is, and allowing them to just be. Tell us a little bit more about the characters in your book and how that comes to be.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, and I want to
The,
comment too that the
yeah.
colors and the art in this book is beautiful. And so, listeners, if this is something that you're interested in, go into the show notes. You will see the link where you can go to Jason's website and purchase his book. So, tell us
Thank you
about the
for
book.
saying that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I mean the colors pop. It's just these whimsical characters.
Yeah.
The main character, her name is Cadence, for obvious reasons. She is a chameleon who has a speech problem, and she stumbles over her tongue in the forest when she tries to speak. So when that happens, she camouflages into the forest because she's embarrassed about what the other animals will think of her.
Mhm.
And without giving too much away, she goes on these escapades and adventures, and she meets these whimsical characters who show her that her words matter, not how they come out.
It's very good. One of
Yeah.
the interesting things I found in your book is that you didn't necessarily describe it as stuttering. You just said
Yeah,
stutter problem. Tell it me
believe
about
it or
that
not,
too. Yes.
the word stutter isn't even in the book once.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't want to pigeonhole it to stutterers. It's really for any child who is struggling with the confidence to speak with in social areas.
Sure. That makes sense
Yeah.
because I think this book is also a confidence builder for someone who's going to get on a stage or say a presentation in front of a class. It works for that
Oh yeah.
too. Yeah. So it's beautiful.
100%. Yeah. And
Hmm.
don't I know it? I have a story that really like shaped me who I am now about public speaking,
Tell the
if you
story,
want to
please.
hear
Yes.
it. Yeah, at the time I was in college and I had a giant presentation. I'm talking like one of those big auditoriums with like hundreds of kids in it.
Mm, that's intimidating.
Um, is intimidating. And going back to what you said earlier, I started on my name. I was like,
Hmm.
"Hi, I'm J J J," and it was right off the bat. And the auditorium was cavernous, so you could hear the chuckling and the echoes. Like it was like out of a movie. Everything froze. So I just bombed it. It was not good. And I came back to my apartment at the time, and I was like dejected. I was ready to quit music and writing and everything I was doing. And my girlfriend at the time looked at me in the eye and said, "I don't date quitters." Just like
Nice.
one. Yeah. And I loved her at the time. So I was like, okay, I guess. And she's my wife now. We
I
got
was going to
married
ask, is that the
years down
woman
the
you
line.
married?
It is. I married her. Like I was like, I don't want to lose this girl. So I kept at it. And the rest is history.
Well,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Good for you.
Thank you.
What are your larger hopes?
My larger hopes, I don't really have any grand plans. I don't want to become this massive author. I just want to write these books and help as many kids as I can. I
You
mean,
say these books. Do you have plans for more?
I do. Yeah.
Good.
Next I want to do a book for an older crowd, high school, college. You know, ditch the whimsical character vibe, obviously,
Hmm.
and speak to a more evolved audience because there are people like that who, like me, who go through those situations that are borderline traumatic in school, and they need help.
Hmm. Yeah, I suppose that those experiences for you, you'd say borderline traumatic, for others, would be full-on traumatic. And the
Yes.
difference being perhaps how your girlfriend at the time responded to you because you were still seen, heard, and validated.
Exactly.
And
I
when
mean,
that is
having
absent,
someone
it becomes trauma.
Yes, having someone like that, or like my family, who's the best support system ever, having that is everything. Everything. If you're in a home where they're not, being patient with you and stuff like that, it can be crippling. And that's why the book, I think, matters. I mean, representation matters, right? If you're a kid and you have a speech condition and you see a character like mine in my book who goes on to achieve these great things, it builds courage.
It does. It does. So, what would you say would be your words to someone like you when you were in college?
Patience. Patience is everything
Patience with yourself?
with yourself. Exactly. You're young, you just have to grow a bit and you'll find peace eventually. I know it's like hard to teach
Mhm.
patience to a younger person, but it's everything. Patience and grace. Don't be hard on yourself. It's just how we all are dealt a hand. right?
Mhm.
How you play that hand it's up to you.
Right. Good advice. What advice
Yeah.
would you give to a young child that is like Cadence?
I would say just don't be shy. Like stutterers have two voices, right? It's like a duality. There's the one that they struggle to express, and then the one that's like the confident one that's trapped inside.
Mm.
Both of them should not be trapped in any way. Just be loud, be proud, and just talk as much as you can. The people who want to listen will stick around, and that's how you'll build that, that nest around you.
I love it. Now, what would you say to the parent who is listening to their child? Maybe they're preschool, or maybe they're elementary, maybe they're high school. It doesn't really matter.
Mhm.
So, we're talking about the younger person. What would you say to the parent who is wondering, will my child get over this? Is it really a thing?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I would say there's hope because not every, like a large number of stutterers and people with speech condition, like apraxia of speech, they do get over it eventually. So if that's what they're really, really striving for, then I would hold out hope. But I think it's much more important to let them grow into it and just live life as it is. Because helping them find themselves and find their voice can help you in the long run as a parent, right?
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I think one of the greatest gifts a parent can give is the empathy and the undivided attention when they speak.
Yeah. What I'm hearing you say, besides the empathy and the undivided attention, is the unconditional acceptance.
Yes.
And that's good for every child, no matter where they are in their developmental stages. And when you talk
Yeah.
about speech and language, even whether or not the condition can be fixed, like we were talking earlier, or not, we want parents to have that unconditional love and acceptance towards their kids. See them, hear
Yep.
them, validate them along the
Exactly.
way.
And
Mhm.
and that validation, it fosters a sense of security in them
Yes.
that will strengthen their communication.
Yeah. And their ability that if they are able to get past or through this particular condition, it gives them the fortitude to do it.
Yes,
And if not,
exactly.
it gives them still the heart and ability to live life and be whole, feeling whole inside.
Well said. Amen. Yes. I mean, it can be messy,
Oh,
but it
yeah.
builds their strength. But it builds their strength, and that's what's important.
I would say parenting is messy, period.
I have heard.
Well,
I've
maybe,
heard.
yeah, soon for you.
Soon for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're trying.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, your interview. Thank you for sending me this glorious book. Listeners, if you are interested in getting this book from Jason, look into the show notes and you can order your own book. It is called Tongue Tied, A Shy Chameleon's Path to Speech Confidence by Jason Heffler. Jason, thank you so much for being on the Language of Play.
Dinalynn, appreciate you. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
You're welcome. It's an honor. As a reminder, email me at hello@thelanguageofplay.com or click in the show notes and we can schedule a consultation if you have questions on this topic or other speech and language related topic. Hey parents, I hope you found this episode helpful. If so, would you please take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who also lives or works with children? I would really appreciate it if you would leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. I read every review and it lights me up to know that this show is making a difference. Then come join my Facebook community, where you'll meet other parents who are dedicated to helping their children grow too. You'll find the link in the show notes. Thank you for joining me. Now it's time to go. Let's pop our kiddos in the strollers and go look around outdoors and see what we have to talk about.